You know, the beautiful thing about the 21st century, Logan, is that, you're able to pivot in ways that we may not have been able to even 10 years ago. And so if you're wondering on podcast what I'm talking about, that would be me talking about the fact that Logan and I did not do a good job with our schedules and coordinating together. And so we didn't have time to do an actual podcast sit down where we both were available. So we're hopping in. We're going to do this super quick. Logan is on his way home from work. I wrapped up work not too long ago. And since I work from home, this is going to work out great. So welcome to the Rocky Top Rundown. Wanted to give you that preface before we hopped into it. My name is Logan. With me via telephone being held up to a microphone is Logan. Logan, how you doing?
Not too bad. Had a first day of basketball practice today, so that was good. I will say our podcast schedule planning is still probably better than Tennessee's bullpen. So
Man,
we have that going for us.
goodness.
Not gonna get any
Strays
worse
off the
than that.
bat.
Well, there's a lot of things coming off the bat when Tennessee's bullpen's involved, so that's true too.
Man,
Um,
Logan's coming in hot today.
so I'm a little fired up. First day of basketball for me is like Christmas morning, so it's good energy around here today.
Hey,
And
we like that.
you're trying to bring it down talking about Tennessee baseball, but that's okay.
Hey, it's part of it. Not everything can be sunshine and rainbows. So, but yeah, so let's let's hop into it. Tennessee goes up to Lexington this weekend or this past weekend, and I don't know how else to say it other than it just didn't go well. Tennessee comes out and nearly gets run ruled Friday night, turns around and gets run ruled Saturday afternoon, and then nearly pisses away, craps away what was
Family
it?
friendly, Alex. Family friendly.
Sorry, I'm frustrated, but what was it? A 5-run lead at one point in Friday's
Yeah.
game to win that one, and I'm going to do win in air quotes because it didn't really feel like a win. Yeah, they got the win, but it they made it as hard as humanly possible to get there, and the pitching lineup changed. You went Tegan Coons, Evan Blanco, and Landon Mack to go out there. And I mean, Logan, I don't know what you think. We're going to start with the pitching. I feel like let's start with that decision because you and I both. Now, if we come on here and been like, all right, I get it, like I like it, I'm here for it, and then we're coming back going, all right, it didn't work, so obviously we hate it. We both were apprehensive when we talked last Thursday about this decision to switch the starting lineups, and go with Coons first and not have him on Saturday, and then Blanco Mack. And we were both apprehensive for the same but slightly different reasons. And man, I feel like it blew up harder than I could have even imagined. And so we'll start there. I mean, Logan, you didn't like it to begin with, but now you see the results and you probably hate it even further.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think I even said, like, I get it. It wasn't that I just downright hated it in the moment. I wasn't a huge fan of changes of stuff that was working.
Yeah.
And so I get that you had to change Mac off your Friday, but I think there were other options. And maybe you can't for in clubhouse reasons or things like that, move him out of the rotation. But maybe worst case, like, leave Teagan on Saturday where he's given up 3 runs in the last 5 starts.
Yeah.
Blanco's been phenomenal on Sundays. Why mess with it? Like, move Mac back to Saturdays or let R start on a Sunday and bring Mac out of the pit. I don't know. Just the fact that you literally reshuffled your whole rotation when it's been the best thing you've had going for you.
Yeah.
Like you said, I wasn't a fan fully. Like, I had a lot of reservations about it. And unfortunately, every reservation I had proved out to pretty much be right.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that Mac was really good on Sunday.
Yeah.
So, which is the only reason you won, because your bullpen and everybody else tried to crap it away.
Right.
So, listen, he pushed a button. It didn't work. I think he's had some this year, talking about Coach E, where there's some buttons he has pushed that just have not worked, and it's a button that makes sense on why he pushed it.
Yeah.
And it's just bad luck that it didn't happen, and this was most certainly one of those times.
Yeah.
He's also pushed the button a couple times and it's gone right. So it's not all bad.
Right.
But, I don't think that was the wise decision. I'm glad I can say that when it happened, I didn't think it was the wise decision before we saw the results.
Right.
It's one of those. I'm curious to see. I've not been on my phone, so I don't. Have they announced the rotation for this weekend yet?
I haven't seen it. It was a busier day at work, so I didn't get to hang out on social media. But I'll do some Googling. I would hope that he took it back.
Well, here's the thing, though. You can't take it all the way back. You can't throw Mac on 2-day short rest. So Mac's not throwing tomorrow night.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Because you also have a short week next week. You play on Thursday next week, so you can't just take it all the way back.
Right.
And you can change it up a little bit. Like you can move Blanco back. That's why I'm curious as what they're going to do. I mean, it didn't work. Maybe you try it again and it's better, and it was just anomaly or whatever.
It's the same. They announced the rotation earlier this morning. It's Coons, Blanco, Mac.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't really know how you change it. It's a weird spot because you're talking about throwing guys on short rest with a short week coming up, and so that makes it hard. But I don't know. I hope last week was just an anomaly, and that this weekend goes better.
I mean, selfishly, like I get to be at the game tomorrow, so I'm pumped to watch Coons pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just overall, like it is wild to me that I'm looking at the Sunday box score, and I am seeing Arvidsson and Appenzeller's names. Obviously, we haven't talked about them yet, but I think that's also just where this pitching staff is. The fact that you had to wait till Sunday to see both of them speaks to where they are, speaks to where this pitching staff is. And honestly, Logan, like I will be the slowest person to say someone needs to be fired, because I think there's so much that goes into coaching that we don't know, and that people just like to jump to saying, all right, go fire him. And, it just doesn't always make sense. I think I'm getting there with Josh Reynolds. Like, I don't know if Josh Reynolds is the right fit for this coaching staff. And I don't want to sound stupid later on, but like, obviously Frank Anderson is a Hall of Fame pitching coach. That's why he was able to jump from that and Tony, but he was able to jump from college to the majors with ease in some ways, and things. We didn't see the issues that we've had out of the pitchers this year, the last several years when Frank Anderson was here, because it's not just like, man, like they're missing here once or twice. Like, they're going out, they're hitting batters, they're walking guys. Like that, I don't understand what's going on, and I don't know what else to point at for pitching other than pitching coaches. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the thing, and we talked about this. I didn't know if you were going to say it. We talked about this. People are on the Josh Reynolds fire train, and I know it's been frustrating, but you go look, and even after this weekend,
yeah,
they are top 25, and I only say top 25 because it's like one stat, maybe two, where they're not in like the top 10 of almost all the major pitching statistics. ERA, strikeouts to walk ratio, they're a top 10 pitching staff in the country. I don't know how you justify firing a guy when his pitching staff is basically what says one of the top staffs in the country.
Yeah, no,
we also have eyes.
Yeah.
Right? So we can see. But, I mean, that starting pitching, I know this weekend didn't go well, but if you think about it, this starting pitching's been really good. And that has to do with Josh Reynolds. Appenzeller and Arvidsson has been really good.
Yeah.
Like, some of it's just guys like Josh Reynolds is not calling for Brady French to come in and submarine a meatball right down the middle.
Right.
He's not calling for the bullpen to come in and hit 6 guys in a game against Alabama.
Right.
So, like, I get it, and there's frustration, and at the end of the day, it is on coaches to, like, for players to execute to a certain extent. I mean, I'm a coach. I do this for a living, so I get that. Like, and as a coach, you feel that way. Like, If my guys aren't executing, what am I doing wrong? I've got to figure out a way to help them execute better.
Right.
But, I mean, like, numbers can lie a little bit. People say numbers don't lie, and they don't to an extent, but they also can to an extent.
Right.
Like, our eyes show us what the real deal is. But, I mean, and you can go look this up. And now I think I was seeing these numbers pre-Kentucky series, but even Kentucky series didn't. I mean, it's not going to just change this heavily. Like, I mean, obviously it could change it some, but like, yeah, ERA, K to walk ratio, strikeouts.
Yeah.
Like, they're top 15, top 20 in every major statistical category.
And ERA dipped a little bit. I don't know when the last time you looked was, but they're number 36 in ERA.
Okay.
But they're number 2 in walks allowed per 9 innings.
Yeah.
But then you turn around and they're number 3 in walks allowed per 9 innings. But then they are number 2 in strikeouts to walk ratio, which is wild.
Elite. That's elite.
You know, it's a true feast or famine situation with the pitching.
Yeah. No, it is. And the thing is, and I think the ERA was the one that was like 24th in the country.
Yeah.
Which top 25 is still not bad. So, and that would make sense that it dropped it to about 36. If feast or famine is the way to describe it, they're not good. They're really not good in critical situations.
Right.
Like, they don't get guys out when they have, is what it seems like, when they have to get guys out.
Yeah.
Now, Appeller before three appearances ago did that. But now he's struggled. Arvidsson, sometimes he'll come in and he'll get out guys in big time spots. Other times he comes in and that's when he's at his worst.
Right.
So, I think the biggest problem is they struggle to get guys out in situations because they don't have a bunch of guys they can go to.
Right. And they just don't have that guy. Like, I think Appenzeller can be that guy. They just don't have a psycho in the dugout. Like, and I don't want to overblow it, but you know, I mean, look at the last several years, you know, and of course I'm blanking on names, but Simo's one of those guys. Andrew Fisher / his teammate from Ole Miss, the pitcher who I'm blanking on.
Doyle.
Yeah, Doyle, like they were both that. You look at the 22 team. I mean, there was multiple guys that were.
That whole team.
Yeah, but like you had a guy whose nickname was. Sorry, my brain just stopped working. But you know, it's like that whole team was just full of psychos. Like who is the quote unquote psycho on this team? I think Blaine Brown can be that. When he's fired up, I don't want anything to do with him. Like get out of his way. But you know, firing a coach and then mental toughness are two things that I just don't think I will ever be qualified enough to comment on. But it does make me wonder. You know, it's like, all right, like where is because you have the skill, you have the statistical proof that you can do this. So the only thing that is keeping you from doing this on a consistent basis could be where your head is at game in and game out. And, you know, outside of golf, I would be open to the argument that baseball is one of the biggest, if not outside of golf, is the biggest mental sport that there is. I mean, the whole thing is just chess.
It's a game of failure.
Yeah.
It's a game of failure. The best players to ever play this game failed 7 out of 10 times.
Right.
So, yeah, you absolutely have to be mentally tough to play this game. And that's something that could be talked about with this team, with some of these guys.
Yeah. So, you know, and flipping from that to the other, the one bright spot on this team is its fielding. You know, the team is honestly, like, the errors have not been bad at all this year. And so, like, let's just claim that you're number 2 in the country in fielding percentage. Number 2 in the country.
Yeah.
Like, your fielding percentage is 99%. It's technically 98.6%, but I'm going to round it up. It's 99% is what your fielding percentage is, which means if they've got a play to make, they're going to make it. And, like, that's huge. The problem is that then pitching allows guys to hit into holes, into gaps, because they leave stuff over the plate. Now, they've gone up against some great offenses, but they're going to go up against great offenses in the playoffs, too. And but
if they make it.
If they make it, I haven't looked to see where the projections are after this weekend, but uh, Logan, flipping over to offense, what's going on with the bats? Because like I was feeling some confidence. We talked about it. Like you look at Kentucky's pitching staff and their statistics. You had the one guy on Friday night, and honestly, I thought Friday night reflected what I thought. I thought Friday night would be a 5-4 ish, maybe 3-4 kind of game. I did not expect it to then Kentucky to open up a can of you know what and just their bats open up, which I don't know what it is, but like if you are last or close to last in home runs against in the SEC, just wait. Make sure you get Tennessee on your schedule because by goodness, you're going to be able to hit some home runs in that series. Kentucky had like, if I read the stat right, it was like 4 or 5 in SEC play, and then they play Tennessee and they have 4 or 5 in the series. So anyways, getting off point, but. What's going on with the bats? Why do you think that there's so much inconsistency, even in a series? You go from 2 runs in your first 2 games to 9 in the last one.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, they just are what they are. They're just inconsistent. They're not, that's just what they are right now. And I mean, you can tell their approach is different. Like I will say. They're better when they take patient at bats, and they usually don't do that.
Right.
Like, they'll come up, even their best hitters, even like a Henry Ford, will come up in a big-time situation, and he'll go take a strike, swing at a ball, strike out.
Yep.
Like 3 pitches swinging, and like there's no patience. And there's some caveats to that, right? Like that Friday night game against Mississippi a few years ago, you could tell their game plan was to hunt fastball. They did not want to get in the slider counts. That guy's slider was disgusting. They didn't want to hit it. So they were going up there early looking for fastball because that's what he would throw to get ahead. And they had success because they were hunting fastball early. That makes sense. But when they're just up there hacking and everything, that's just impatient at bats. And that's when they're at their worst. And that's what, like, to not dump it all on the pitching, I posted it on the VolQuest board, I think on that Friday night of the Kentucky game, when they're down like 9-2 or whatever. And people were complaining about the pitching. And they weren't wrong. But I was like, don't let this bad pitching hide from the fact that he could only give up 2 runs and we'd still be losing right now.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't scoring enough to win that game anyways.
Yeah. No, you're right.
So, it's just guys taking bad at-bats in bad situations. I mean, Levi Clark's been phenomenal in SEC play. He's been so good. He was good this weekend. Blaine Brown's getting better the last couple series. Henry Ford's kind of hit or miss now. I know he's been sick, but it's just like, I don't have any confidence. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't have any confidence in Blake Grimmer when he steps up there.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily have a lot of confidence in like
Grindlinger.
No, I have an abundance of confidence in Grindlinger. He had 7 hits last week, and he's been your second best hitter in SEC play.
Yeah.
Which we can get to that in a minute. I still am trying to figure out how you hate his stance so much, but
I didn't. My wife's family did.
Because I mean, he was hitting 400 going into the last weekend. I think now he's like 320 or something. Grimmer, not a whole lot of confidence in. I will say Reese Chapman, I felt better. I'm like, okay, there's a shot here. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Manny Marin when he steps up there. So there's just guys. There's what feels like a lot of holes. Like Jay Abernathy, little hit or miss. So it's just the lineup's not long enough. There's too many holes. It's just hard to string stuff together with that lineup. And so that's a problem. When you can't string 3 and 4 hits together consistently, it's hard to score, especially when they're not hitting home runs like they have in the past.
Right. No, you're right. And even to that, like it what I hate is, you'll get a good hit from Abernathy or Brown in the 9-hole spot. It flips over to the top of the order. You get another good hit, but all this is happening with 2 outs, and then you get a guy, because like Garrett Wright has been, I'm looking at his numbers in SEC play. He's only hitting 268, but I mean, I feel like that man's on base all the time.
His OPB is high. Yeah, he gets hit. He draws walks. Like, he gets on base.
He's on base, 368. So almost 100 points better than his batting average. And so, but still it, then it flips around to Ford or whoever's in the 2 hole, and it just goes nowhere, and the amount of runners left on base, it's just, I don't know. And I'd be interested to know, like, how much has Elander, like, he's been your offensive guy, but how much has he taken his hands off of it to focus on the entire team? Is he trying the Tony approach, where Tony was very much the CEO type, and he was the type to let the guys that were good at what they do what they do best. That's why Frank had his crew. Elander had his guys, and they did their thing. And I wonder if that is why the offense has seemingly taken a step back, because Elander's no longer, similar to what we talk about with football, where a lot of people want Heupel to pull himself more and more out of the offensive play calling. I wonder if Elander pulled himself out too much, too quick, and started focusing on being a head coach, which is totally fair. Like, that is not a critique of Elander. It's just, how do we go from what we've had over the last 5 years to what we have now? And I'm like, all right, if I'm rationally thinking, that's the only thing that kind of makes sense, because Elander's not changing his approach, and it's not like pitching has changed all that much. Maybe guys have better strategy against Tennessee's batters, and that's just something we're seeing this year, where the pitching in the SEC knows how to attack Elander's bats. But it's one of those things where, like, that you would think they would make adjustments. And maybe that's what they are doing, is teams are showing a fastball early, getting them to miss, and it's a high risk, high reward kind of thing, where you get these bats behind in the count and just hope that they don't stay in it long enough to get caught back up. That's something we've talked about. Patient at bats. I thought was a huge strength of the 22 and 24 teams. And honestly, the 23 and even last year's team, like, they had more times than not were able to get behind in counts and battle their way back. I mean, Blake Burke was a master at that. I mean, I swear that man had 12, 13 pitch at bats like it was nothing. Even his iconic at bat against Florida State, where he ultimately, his check swing that, if I'm not a Tennessee fan, I think he went.
No, it wasn't a swing. It wasn't a swing.
But
it wasn't a swing. But
still, like, that at bat was forever long. That pushed into double digits, and that was not anything new for him. And so I just wonder if, all that to say, I wonder if the approach has been different this year, because the main coach that has been speaking to the hitting has not been Elander. And again, not a critique. It would make sense. He's got to be a head coach. He can't focus on just one thing.
No, I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, it's a legitimate question to have, right? I mean, you have this drop off, and it's tough. This is a weird year too, right? Because your roster is so new. I mean,
yeah.
I don't want to compare them and say, next year you return all these guys and then boom, national championship. But it's very similar to 2023. The only difference is this team has not turned a corner.
Correct.
But you have a lot of guys this year that it's their first time being full year starters. Just like it was a lot of that guys in 2023's first time being full year starters, even though they had contributed the year prior and done some situational stuff. Like Levi Clark was in the lineup some, like Blake Burke was as a freshman. Abernathy played some, like Christian Moore did. And it's also not fair we're comparing these guys to first round picks.
Correct.
Second round picks. But there is some similarities there. So it's a tough year too for either to be his first year on the job, because there's a lot of new this year.
Yeah. It was probably going to be a step back regardless of who the head coach was.
I mean, listen, Tony built this team.
Yeah.
Like Tony and Frank, people can say what they want to. Tony and Frank built this team. This is the team they wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Elander was the recruiting coordinator. He was a massive part of it too. But this wasn't just the Elander made team. This was a Tony Frank and Josh Elander made team.
Right.
So, like, there's a lot more that goes into this.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So let's, we are presenting questions and don't have a ton of answers. And I don't know that there are a ton of answers that we'll have right now. I do hold on to the hope, and it is the hope that kills you, that this team will turn a corner at some point, because that's the thing. If if this lineup if this lineup can eliminate just even two holes, like where, you're getting into 7, 8, 9, and like they're not automatic outs, but like everyone else is battling, and like your 9 spot is Blaine Brown, and Blaine Brown is, you know every other at bat having a good at bat, but maybe not producing. Like, it's this lineup can do incredible things. And it's also too, like, I swear, I think I texted you this. The way that they hit the ball and how it sounds like a lot of these guys, especially in the middle, from three, whoever's in these slots from 3 to 6 or 7, when they hit it, I'm like, man, that's gone. And then they cut to the field, and you've got the outfielders running in. And I'm like, man, like, they are making good contact and not getting it to go anywhere. At least that's what it sounds like. And so, it's one of those things where we talked about with basketball. It's all there, you just got to put it together. We have the ingredients for tacos, but we don't have tacos yet.
Yeah.
And so, looking ahead to Texas, Logan, this could be a very ugly weekend with how they're playing. But, there's going to be all the storylines that I'm sure the broadcast will murder. Starting with the fact that Elander played for Schlossnagel at TCU. The last time Schlossnagel played Tennessee, the last 2 times, I don't know the numbers right off the top of my head, but I know that the last 2 times that Schlossnagel has played against Tennessee, he has not won, because last year Tennessee got the upset over Texas in the SEC tournament. Tennessee didn't play Texas in the regular season. Then you have Texas A&M the year before in the national championship game. So, there's going to be that storyline. There's the fact that this honestly should be a top 10 matchup if this team was who they were on paper. And, I don't know who Texas played last week, but they're coming in ranked 5th in the conference in batting. They have hit 74 home runs, which is middle of the pack in the conference. But they got a lot of hits, actually Tennessee has more hits than they do. But Texas has more runs than Tennessee does. And so should be an interesting weekend of matchups. Texas does come in with the pitching staff with the second best ERA in the conference, at 3.38. Tennessee is down at 8th and at 4.41, and so it could be a weekend where Tennessee comes out with 2 wins. Could be a weekend where Tennessee gets swept. Neither would really surprise me, but I know which one needs to happen. And, Tennessee is currently sitting at 32-17. You're 11-13 in the conference. You need 2 more wins. You got 6 games to get 2 more conference wins to cement yourself in the playoff.
13 should get you in. 14 cements yourself.
Okay, sorry. So you need 3 wins. You need to win half your games to cement yourself. Field of 64 is still projecting them at a 3 seed. In
Atlanta, right?
At Atlanta, with Georgia Tech, Jacksonville State, and FDU, who is more notably known for beating Purdue as a 16 seed. And so, I mean, there's a lot on the line. You would love to win 2 games this weekend, and then only have to win 1 game in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Because that Oklahoma team is not going to be easy to be on the road. This team, honestly, this year's baseball team, every year's football team under Heupel has looked better on the road than this year's baseball team has. And so, looking at this weekend, Logan, obviously you've already said you don't have expectations. You had expectations last week. You were pissed. The pitching rotation is the same.
I didn't have expectations. I was just excited. Like, after Alabama, I was at least excited to watch. But I just don't still have expectations for this team.
Okay, fair enough. But with the pitching rotation, what it is, maybe, and with it being at home, maybe it's different. But what are you thinking for this weekend? Are you what's going through your head as we look ahead to Texas?
I mean, listen, I think it's going to be a good crowd this weekend because I think everybody's fighting for their life.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, you and I are getting to go tomorrow night. I think we're going to have fun. Like, I think it'll be a good atmosphere. You'd like to think that they're good enough. Like, I know it hadn't been a great year, but like, this team has responded well with their back against the wall.
Yeah.
You know, you went on the road and swept the top 10 Mississippi State team. You took out 2 out of 3 from a top 12 Alabama team. You know, you've competed most weekends. Like, this weekend with Kentucky was a fluke. Like,
yeah.
The fact that you didn't compete in 2 of those games was that's something that really hadn't been done all year.
Right.
So, like, you would think they'd get one. But, you know, we'll talk about this getting one, trying to scratch for 2, and all of a sudden they'll come out and sweep them. Like, it's weird. Like, this team is just weird.
Yeah. Is that a prediction for a sweep?
I don't know, because you got to play against Dylan Valantis tomorrow night. So, that being said, you absolutely pounded Dylan Valantis. I think his name's Dylan Valantis in the SEC tournament last year.
Yeah.
So, he's a stud southpaw that I think gets up in the 98, 99 range. He is good. But you know what? Small park. Put some bat on ball, see if it'll carry, and see what will happen. So, I don't know. I mean, listen, teams that are fighting for their lives fight different, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think you could possibly see them come out and do that. You know, you would like to think they didn't get a little complacent after beating Alabama, going to Kentucky, thinking, oh, yeah, we're good, we got it now. So, you know, if your pitching is better, you have a shot because Tegan Coons and Blanco have been great.
Yeah.
And you would have to think eventually these Athens Others outings would get better.
Yeah.
So you know what? Maybe you get a hit by a pitch or a walk, and then you know, Henry Ford or Levi Clark or somebody just pokes one up over that left field wall against Valantis, and you're up 2-0, 3-0, or something like that.
Right.
And then Coons shoves, and then App comes in and shoves, and you win a game 3-1.
Yeah.
That's a possibility. That's not just something way out of left field.
Yeah.
No pun intended. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, it didn't take much. One bad pitch in baseball can change it completely.
Yeah.
You know, shortstop. Look at Alabama. Shortstop drops the ball, and then that puts Levi Clark up, and Levi Clark sits on the right pitch and hits, you know, uncorks one. Like, now you got a couple runs on the board. Who knows what happens?
Right.
So it's a weird game.
No, it is.
So Texas probably win the series. But Tennessee's fighting for their life. I would not be shocked if we got on here next week and talked about how Tennessee upset Texas in a couple games and won the series. Like, that wouldn't just necessarily shock me. Do I expect it? No.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't just be floored if it happened either.
Yeah. And Valantis is coming in with a 1.87 ERA. He has not lost a game yet, and
It's got to happen eventually.
It does. You know, he's got in 11 games, he's got 92 strikeouts. So that is, and just to put that in perspective, Coons in 11 games has only 80 strikeouts, and I feel like Coons sits guys down. So it could be a very long night. Again, like I said last week, wouldn't be surprised if this was a, 3-1 kind of baseball game where I would assume game 1 Texas will win, but you never know when you're at home. And if they come out in the first inning and get a couple runs, and then Coons comes back out and shuts down in the second inning, and all of a sudden you got some momentum building, and that's a stadium that when it gets rocking, it's rocking, and so that's all it takes. It's just a couple things to go right. Now, the story for this team all year has been they couldn't get one thing to go right in some games. And so it's stacking those things on top of each other to move forward. And so, Logan, we'll see. I'm not optimistic, if I'm being honest. I think that, and maybe that's just my ignorance with the sport of baseball as a whole, but at this point you are who you are, and obviously these guys have the athleticism and the physical ability to turn the corner at any point. But yeah, I am worried that this team is who they are, and it's not going to be a fun rest of the year, and this weekend could be really painful. But I also know that there's a part of me that is like, but what if? The what ifs are what will kill me. Because you're right. They could flip at any point, and I think I'd be way more shocked if Tennessee swept Texas versus Texas sweeping Tennessee. But it's I don't think anyone's getting swept this weekend. I just don't see Tennessee getting swept at home. But I mean, man, who knows? You just gotta get to Sunday. You get to Sunday with the series tied 1-1. Be interesting to see if Matt can return to what he was even this past Sunday, but earlier in the year.
Yeah. I mean, that's a key, right? Like, it's got to be. Like, you're not going to be at you can, and this is probably just like obvious, but I mean, you can't be at your best if he doesn't get better.
Yeah.
Than what he has been.
You're top 5. Really, like, you like to think that what Coons and Blanco went through this past weekend were flukes. The fact that they were thrown off their normal schedule, because it wasn't just that you changed the pitching rotation. You changed the pitching rotation coming off of a series that started on Thursday, ended on a Friday. So, like, no one was in any sort of rhythm last weekend. Like, that Alabama series ending on a Friday, like, guys were out of any sort of regular rhythm that they had had all season. You'd like to think that they're both going to rebound, and but you need all 5 of your top 5 guys to get better. No one has just been without blame this season. I think there's been less blame on Coons and Blanco, but you need Coons, Blanco, Mack, Arv, and Appenzeller to all take a major step forward if you want any chance of being competitive come playoff time.
Sure. No, you're right.
And then the guys behind them, you just hope you can piece together innings. I don't understand how guys like Brady, Brady Frederick, and
Mark Hindy.
Yeah, any of them. You can throw out any names, but like the fact that we've got Nick Abraham throwing on a Friday night is ridiculous. And that's not a slight at him, but when you got Brady Frederick and Krenzel as options, and then even Bo Rudy, like, God, it still blows my mind. This past Sunday, you threw Landon Mack, Appenzeller, Bo Rudy, and Arvinson on a Sunday. Those are 4 names you were hoping to be throwing on Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
So,
right.
Anyways, I think Elander and his staff are doing everything they can. You're not wrong about. I don't know that Reynolds. It's time for him to go, but like they got to figure something out, and hopefully they do this weekend.
Nope, you're right. They got to figure it out quick, because now you're back against the wall. It's crunch time now.
But hey, appreciate you all listening. I think Logan's home on his drive from work, and we'll wrap this on up. We'll be back on Sunday to Logan. We got to talk playoff expansion. I don't know if you saw it, but the AFCA, American Football Coaches Association, they came out and officially endorsed the 2014 playoff and eliminating conference championships. And we gotta talk about the nauseating stuff that's being done there to to basketball, expanding to 76 teams, and the chaos that's going to bring, even if it does bring in $21 million. It's just college sports is getting crazy. And we haven't even talked about is the fact that Tennessee missed out on Sorensby and they missed out on a huge headache. So, maybe Heupel knows what he's doing. Maybe.
There you go.
But anyways, we'll be back Sunday. We'll talk through all of that, and hopefully we come back with some positives from this Texas series. And so appreciate you all for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, share it, all the things. Super helpful. Costs you nothing. Helps us a ton. And we'll catch you later. See ya.